talking all things red light district. We're really excited about that. Stay tuned for that in this show. Yes, you mentioned it. I'm here in Puerto Vallarta, and we can't say it enough. It's the countdown when we come back October 29th through November 5th for the 2023 Vacaya, Mexico Resort Vacation in Puerto Vallarta. And we want some of you to join us. It's all inclusive, y'all. And we are going to be broadcasting this particular show live on November 1st. Dia de los Muertos. So you want to tune in to that, or if you can, join us and be in the live audience. I did a site check earlier this week, and it's really cool. We're going to be on the sun deck. Hopefully, if not, we'll be in this other part, but we're working those details out. It's going to be a lot of fun. How excited are you?
I am so excited. I was just looking at all the amenities and things of that nature, and I cannot wait. I think it's going to be a transcendental experience, and I'm so excited. I'm brimming with joy and anticipation. I can't wait.
Anticipation, exactly. 100%. You guys can join us and get up to $200 off by using our promo code at checkout, TAGS, TAGS. Simply go to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the 2023 Vacaya Mexico Resort Vacation in PV, and at checkout, get up to $200 off. Use our promo code TAGS, TAGS. We would love to have some of you out there with us, sunning by the pool deck, the naked deck on, the naked deck, and the red light district, which is going to be so much fun. We'll talk more about that in the show. Also,
I'm going to be at both places. So just in case anybody was wondering, I'm going to be at the naked deck and the red light district, and I'm going to be naked everywhere I can be naked. All right.
Exactly. Well, before I leave Puerto Vallarta, I had to get my hair cut at this. I have to shout out to it. It's this awesome barber shop called Barber and Booze. And you heard it. They have some of the best barbers. Shout out to Ulysses, who cut my hair today. He's the second time he's cut my hair. He gives some of the best fades. We're talking meticulous fades. I'll show you in a second. I'll show you the back of my head what he did, and it's so cool. But they have craft cocktails at this barbershop. Not just vodka soda or here's a beer, which would be great, right? But craft cocktails, a menu of. So it's the third or fourth time I've gone there. When my friends come with me and my sister, they love to come with me too because they sit on the couch, hear music, and have a cocktail. I had this mezcal craft cocktail, and it was delicious. God. Ulysses did such a great job. I'm going to turn my head around and show you the back of my head.
I've never seen the back of your head before. It's so cute. Oh my God.
Not bad, right? I mean,
that's cute. I love it.
He works with you so good. So check out Barber and Booze in Puerto Vallarta when you are here. Afterwards, the tank top I'm wearing, I decided to pick up at a local, gay LGBTQ plus store that has, everything's teeny tiny. And I got this hot pink tank top that it was just me and the sales guy in there, adorable Mexican guy that was working there, and he wanted me. I said, "Oh, should I go into the dressing room to try this on?" He said, "The first tank top." He says, "Can I be honest?" I said, "Please." He said, "I think I have a better one for you." And same price. I put it on. Let me just say that after telling me he thought I was very attractive, and he actually closed the shop down. I bought poppers there. He closed the shop down. And we went into the dressing room for some fun.
What?
I have somebody off camera here who's giving me a side
eye. Oh my God.
Full service. And he wanted to go further. I'm like, you know what? I got to get back, but this has been a lot of fun. But we were imagine closing down.
Does he have a coworker? I need to know what's going on.
Hey, it's a little bit slower times here in Puerto Vallarta in the month of September. So he was like, let me get my groove on. And I happened to be the right one at the time, I guess.
You better get it.
I know. I got a tank top, poppers, and
Did you get a
some.
discount is what I wanna know.
Well, no, but prices. I got some money. We are
You got a
live, you
gift
guys.
with purchase. Okay, alright.
We are
I love it.
live, and I love the comments flowing through. Steve says Cali Dad, and Marie, who's going to be joining us a little later, Dick discount. I mean,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, this is perfect for the show. I'm ready for the show now. So
Love it.
super fun. We love it when you guys write in, especially when it has to do with past topics. And this one came from episode 497. This was the one where we were talking about, what's his first name? DeMarco? Cody?
Adam.
Adam DeMarco. We were
You look
talking
that
about.
way, so I was like, "Are you talking to somebody
No,
else?"
sorry. My mind's still in that shop with that guy
Okay, yeah, I
earlier.
see
So
that.
yeah, let me pull it back here. He wrote episode 497. We were talking about Adam DeMarco and the new Bumble campaign, where the power of kindness. Well, they wrote in, the most effective thing we can do to create a better world is to be kind to the people we encounter each day. Hopefully, we inspire kindness in others and the effect ripples outward. Someone who is attractive and naturally kind, that is the epitome of sexy. Congrats in advance for making it to episode 500, which we will next week. Mike wrote into us, a retired teacher living in Bangkok. I love that.
Bangkok, yeah, sounds like what
I
you did in
mean,
the store. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Sorry, I couldn't let it go by.
the power of kindness. Come
Right,
on
yes.
now.
Oh my gosh, I gotta remember that.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, we've got to get to hot topics, and one of them comes from a Texas judge who halted the state's drag ban. This is good news because it's an
Yes.
actual federal judge in Texas who has stopped the state's ban on drag performances. And this was all scheduled to go into place last Friday, which would have enforced a temporary, well, they enforced a temporary injunction on the measure. One, major rights for our community. Well, there was a group of drag performance groups led by the American Civil Liberties, ACLU, in Texas. They filed a suit against the state earlier in the month, claiming that the law is overly broad and infringes on their freedom of speech. The court finds there is a substantial likelihood that this law, as drafted, violates the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution under one or more of the legal theories put forward by the plaintiffs. I think, and of course, Cody, it was signed by Governor Greg Abbott to put this into, banning. He wanted this banned since last June, really saying sexually oriented performances in the company of minors is a no-no and he doesn't want it. But I think it's great because you and I both know he also signed things like immigration, where he's busing all of these immigrants into New York City and we're being like bombarded, and you
Mhm.
feel for these immigrants. You see them, and he's just the devil in my mind. And
Yeah.
this finally, somebody stood up to him, because I think what it says is no one's saying they're, first of all, they're not sexually explicit performances
Yep.
in general, and that the way it was written would essentially be anybody can interpret it the way they wanted to, and then could ban these. What did you think when you heard this?
Yeah, I was really happy. And I'm like you said, I'm glad somebody is finally standing up and taking a stand and saying how discriminatory and unjust all of these laws are, because we as LGBTQ plus people we're citizens of this country as well, and we need to be treated fairly and equally, in my mind. So I'm glad that somebody is doing something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we have to talk about this. Is disturbing. We love Canada, our neighbor, but Canada recently warned officially LGBTQ people of, guess what? The United States laws. Like, if you're going to go to the United States, Cody, You need to know what's going on. An advisory to coming to the United States of America. They updated its travel advisory for the US to warn LGBTQ travelers that they are at risk of being affected by state and local laws. And this is because of the recent surge in state level legislation. I think there's over 500
Yeah.
state laws that have been enacted or proposed at the very least. And Canada is our neighbor and our friendly and our friend. And it feels icky. It feels, after you've been to the gym and it's that ickiness that you just got to get off of you to feel, it
Okay.
feels that kind of icky to me that we are in this point right now that this is where it's come to. I mean, I don't blame Canada for putting this
hmm
advisory out. We put it out for other countries all the time. What did you think when you heard this, that our
Oh
country is
yeah.
actually, getting this enacted? I mean, that Canada's saying this.
I'm not surprised at all. When you told me about this story, I said to myself, well, if the NAACP can do it and the HRC can do it about Florida, then I think that Canada doing it about the entire United States is par for the course. People in our country are spouting hate and rhetoric against people of color and LGBTQ plus people at alarming rates. And I don't blame other countries for advising their residents about the pitfalls of actually traveling here. Sometimes I'm scared to live here, so I totally get it. And Canadians are known for being very very nice, so they should warn their constituents, their residents about things that are less than desirable because their laws up there. Justin Trudeau is not playing around. He's doing the damn thing. He's doing a great thing up there. And you know what else? I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that the gun laws here are so
Loose.
not strict. Loose is what is the word. I was going to say not stringent, and then that would have been a double negative. But no, that they're so loose. Yes, I got that's a great word because between that and so many uh, mass shootings that are going on in this time in this day and age, I think that it's something that should be done basically. So yeah,
It's embarrassing, I think, for our country. We should be embarrassed in many ways, not
yeah,
the people fighting the good fight, but the government should be embarrassed for not standing up for many of the anti-LGBTQ laws that are in effect, many of which
hmm
have been enacted this year alone.
yeah,
And I think we should be really embarrassed that we're now put on this list to warn a community that actually spends a lot of money, Cody, when they
yes,
travel. A community that actually travels for special events, whether it's BDSM events, pride events. Now you're going to have, it's not saying don't go there, but it is putting that warning on there. I've considered not going to certain places when I've seen warnings that I think we should all be checking in this moment in time, wherever you're going, just out of you just need to know what's going on. You can
yeah.
still go to some of these places. Now, there's certain places that we report on that obviously, I don't want to go to Uganda right now because I don't think that would not be a good choice. But there's other
Definitely
places
not.
too. But I just think, kind of embarrassing
It
that
is.
we're
It is.
in this. Yeah. Sorry,
You
Canada
betcha.
listeners out there. Somebody also felt the same way. He's a writer, an opinion writer. He wrote for The Onion recently, The Guardian, actually, Dan Clark. And this is what
Mhm.
he had to say. It's an extensive piece. We'll just talk a little bit about it. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com because I think it's important. I have never in my adult life felt less safe to be gay in public in the US, he wrote. After coming out of the closet 2 decades ago, I never thought I'd go back in, but homophobia seems to be acceptable again. And he says when he came out of the closet in rural upstate New York almost 2 decades ago, I never
Mhm.
thought I'd go back. I was wrong. In the last few months, quote, I've started to change my appearance to accommodate a growing hostility toward the
That's
LGBTQ
sad.
plus community. And he's in New York, often touted as a beacon for queer communities, right?
Yes.
Now he wears a baseball cap when he's going out to hide. He's got like really bright blonde hair. as if that's a shade exclusive to gay men. He's ditched brighter, lighter colors that pop when I wear them for darker shades that mask any expression of what could be considered femininity. I speak differently when I'm in public, he says, leaving out the excessive niceties I'd usually exhibit in hopes of throwing strangers off the scent of who I actually am.
Oh, wow.
He goes on. This resonated with me, but let me just read you a couple of recent Gallup polls and
Okay.
why he might be feeling this way. 64% of US adults consider same gender relationships to be morally acceptable, according to, say, 33% that do not. Well, it's a jump because with last year, 25% of US adults felt the same way. In other
Okay.
words, we're now at 33% that think it's morally unacceptable. Now it's 25%. So
Wow.
that number, and at the same time, more people are actually identifying as LGBTQ plus more than ever. So a recent Gallup poll last year estimated about 7.1% of US adults identify with our community. That doubled the 3.5% that was in 2012. So, Kodi, more people are actually identifying in our community, which is a great thing, I think. Times are changing. It's beautiful. It's really showing the acronym in its beautiful shape and form. But on the other hand, there's less acceptability and more homophobia. So it's at crossroads, if you think of it that way, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think when you see these numbers, or how Dan feels?
Yeah, again, I'm not surprised by this think piece. I think that if only if you're blissfully unaware, would you not feel some type of trepidation by going outside? Because there, like I said before, there is so much that is going on right now that is limiting and targeting the LGBTQ plus community. So I think that it's completely justifiable to feel a little bit scared, but I feel like I want to implore people to fight against that feeling and live your best life, because I think that the numbers that we saw have a lot to do with the acceptance that we feel as a society now. More people are coming out. This is not something new. The number of people that have been gay, I don't think it's increasing. I think
Right.
that we are feeling more comfortable coming out and being our true selves. Now, that being said, the reason that the people that dislike the LGBTQ plus community, I think that that number went down because when you see somebody living out loud and living in their truth, yeah. um, you broke up my train of thought. It was gonna be
Sorry.
really good too, but I love the little wink. When you see people living out loud and living in their truth, and you're not necessarily comfortable with it, or you actually see what it entails, then you start to revisit and rethink some things. And I think that that is why a lot of people have come into or aligned with more stringent LGBTQ plus views. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Like you said, more and more people are feeling comfortable. I love that aspect. It's a sign of progress. I just think with these laws coming into effect that it's at crossroads in many ways, and they are not feeling the accepted. They're feeling comfortable in many ways, but it's making a lot of other people want to go back in the closet. So we're at a turning point, I think.
Hmm.
It's a true turning point in history right now that we're actually living, sociologically analyzing and looking at it, like on this show, and
Yep,
wondering where
that's
we're
right. I was going
going
to say that.
next. So let's keep this conversation going because it's ongoing. I know it is, but it's really more exciting to bring up our special guest,
Yes,
Marie, to the show. Do we need
Marie.
to invite her, Kodi?
I
Or
think she's invited. If she just
okay,
clicks on go to stage, then she should be
yeah.
just up. Here she come. I see it.
Okay, okay.
Yay!
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, it's wonderful to be here.
Hi,
with such gorgeous
beautiful.
humans.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Talk about gorgeous.
Likewise, we're
Yes.
in good company.
Well, we couldn't help, we want to introduce you, Marie, to the show, who resides in DC. You and I have in common that we were earlier on the Caribbean Vacaya cruise. I believe you were on that cruise. Is that correct?
Yes, I was on this year's, and I was there for 22 as well.
Ooh.
Nice, yeah. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't see you then, but what, I guess the first thing, what did you love about that cruise? Why do you like the Vacaya brand? We're going to be doing, you probably heard us, the upcoming 2023 Mexico resort here in Puerto Vallarta. I love the brand, but I'd just love to hear like what you think about it.
Um, I really appreciate, um, you know, Vakaya really has demonstrated to me that it's dedicated to inclusivity.
Mhm.
I've heard about Atlantis, I've heard about some of the other cruise lines. I would love to go and check it out. I like to party with the guys, but it's not clear to me that there's space for me there.
Right.
Um,
Mm.
but with Vakaya, even though the boat is still male dominated, like everyone, I feel like everyone from the LGBTQ plus community is welcome there, and it's a work in progress. Of
Right.
course, there could always be more POC, there more women, more trans folks, but I think Vakaya has demonstrated. When I look at the Vakayans, I see myself, I see my what my queer friends look like, what my queer community looks like. So it's a brand, that's why I support, and it's super fun. My best friend is actually in the Gay Men's Course of DC, of which Vakaya is a big sponsor. So we
Okay.
have a large contingent. So though that's my group that I go with, and just a great group of people, and we have a really good time.
Love it. I feel the same
Nice.
way. Before we're going to bounce questions back and forth, but there's a sizzle reel out there that you are a part of for Vakaya. And one of the things you say in the opening statement is, I'm really kinky. We're going to get into what
Ooh.
that really means in general, but you define yourself as pansexual,
Yes.
poly, and really kinky. Um, when did you identify as your kinky side and realize that that was what you wanted to explore?
Um, actually, I visited Germany. My family was there. This would have been like maybe 2013, and it was my first time going to a sex club, and I was
Ooh.
like, this is amazing. What? I can go and hook up, and I don't have to worry about, do I got to go to your house, or you come to my house? What if you turn out to be not what I thought? What if it's not giving? And this can happen at a public place that is cleaned with the safe sex supplies, and it just made sense to me. And so when I came back to the States, I was like, well, this is a life that I would like to to explore further. And being in DC, there's a sizable kink community here, so I was able to get a good entrance with good education, right? Like learning how to meet good people, not get hurt, those
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Yes.
Treat myself safely and with respect, and of course other people as well. So I was fortunate, especially as a woman coming into the kink scene. You wanna come in with good education, so you're not caught up with the wrong folks.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Right, cautionary tale.
That's right. Well, I kind of want to roll things back just a smidge because we touched on inclusivity. I want to get your experiences with Vacaya on inclusivity. How have they made you feel that you were accepted, welcome with open arms? What would you describe as inclusivity for as far as Vacaya is concerned?
Like I mentioned earlier, when I look at the Vakayans, like I
Hmm.
said, I see people of color, I see
Hmm.
people of all gender expressions and identities. Just in addition to many of them being very easy on the eyes.
Oh, oh, that helps.
Right. Just very like, oh, you're on the boat. I would also like to be on the boat. Where will you be exactly on this boat? So definitely there, and like I mentioned, like I enjoy partying. I like to party, so I like to hang out with the gays. I kick it with the gays. It's a good time. Um, and so many of the events that are specifically for women on the boat, I actually ended up missing because I would be out on the dance floor with the guys. Like
Uh-huh.
there was a party though, so I had to go to the party. Y'all have fun at the board games, but I'm gonna be out on the dance floor. I'm gonna be out seeing what it's giving, seeing what's going on. And it was a similar energy with the red light district. So they really upgraded the red light district for 2030 or 2023 rather for this year. 2022, it was like up on the basketball court,
I
and I was like,
remember
okay,
that. Yeah.
right. And I was like, okay, well, that's cute for the guys, but that doesn't, my genitalia face
This-
in a little bit of a different direction. I'd rather have a surface for my activities. But hey, I'm here for it. Y'all do that. But as soon as they got that furniture in there, I was like, oh, this is giving dungeon, and I know what to do in a dungeon. Like I know my way
oh.
around there. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm fitting to be down on the red light district, seeing what's going on. Um, and and I mean I felt welcome there. There was a couple, some of the older queens might have clutched their
Yeah.
pearls a little bit, but then they kind of looked down and saw the strap that I had, and then
Oh.
the wheels were turning instead of like there was less pearl clutching and more like, wait a minute, maybe she does have something I'd be interested in. Um, and so it's really fun. Vacaya is it's a really good time. And it's really my genuine hope and wish that over the years, right over the next 5 to 10 years, that we really see that when I get on the boat, I really see fully the diversity and the expression that the LGBTQ community has to offer in all its wonderfulness and all the different colors and all the different flavors that we come in.
Love it.
Yes.
And I love that you brought up the red light district because I was on that same cruise. I saw the evolution from the basketball court with it was so huge, that basketball court too, and everyone was positioned in one part. It was cooler that particular time of year. This year it seemed like it warmed up, even though it was the same type of year, February. It was more contained, like you said. We'll talk about some of the specific furniture pieces, BDSM, that were in there, but music was piped in, and it just was really great. You in that video said something that I loved, but actually, I want to tap a little bit more into it. You said there's a misperception out there that only cis gay men can have a space like this. And you actually go on to say, why can't we all be kinky together? Now, you tapped in that some of the older queens maybe clutch their pearls a little bit, and I hear that. Just talk to us a little bit about
But
your
they came around
mindset.
though.
They came
Sorry.
around.
They came around.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was your mindset going into the space like that? Did you think about it? Did you care that maybe you might, get some of these reactions?
Uh, So I wasn't as concerned about reactions, but I did really, because I didn't go until later in the week. And that's because I really did spend time with some of the gay men that I was there with, asking questions
Wow.
about etiquette. Yeah, how do things work? Um, Vacaya is for everyone, but as the iteration it's in right now, most of the people on the boat are cis gay men, and I think all of us, we need to respect the spaces that we're in. Right? We don't need to immediately come in and change things, right? First, you kind of see who is centered or who feels centered, and then kind of go from there. So I spent quite a bit of time asking questions. How does it work? How do the guys do it? I want to come in respecting the space and not coming in like, okay, we're doing something different.
Right.
Because that's because I've been in spaces where other people come in and it's like, okay, girl, we were okay, and then you busted in.
Yeah.
So I took some time to like learn etiquette and that kind of thing, which I'm glad that I did. Um, and now I had visited the red light district a few times, but before I showed up with my strap though, like that's why I want to make sure I really know what's going on and kind of get into the groove with everyone here. And not just just knocking into stuff and knocking things over and oh girl, what y'all doing? That's
Right.
not what it's giving, right? Like this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
we all know what we're here for. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Right.
Where's the vibe? Um, but yeah, it was fun, and I didn't, and certainly in my experience on the boat in general, and particularly on the red light district, the younger guys are not gagged. Either they're into it or they're not.
Hmm.
Right.
And it's the kind of the older queens that are like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, women do what now? And I'm like, yeah, we do. We do these things,
Right.
and it's fun. You should try it.
I love it.
I am living, and I live for your energy. For me, it's kind of like you're breaking down barriers, and I love that you do your research. You go in there and you don't necessarily want to reinvent the wheel, but you're like, I want to be a peg on this wheel. Okay, how about that? Which I think is amazing. So thank you so much for that. I asked this to the previous people that we had on from Vacaya. How would you because I am so excited to go in the red light district. It's like one of my main things that I want to do there. So what would you say is the vibe when you get into the red light district? What should I expect as somebody that's going in?
And so it partly depends on what time of the day it is. So when
Okay.
it's really popping, during and after whatever the late party is, right? Because there's parties all day long, right?
Right.
There's like tea during the day, and then there's an early party. So the later party, we'd be on the dance floor, but then every so often we would kind of just go kind of test the temperature in the red light
Hmm.
district to kind of see what was going on. So definitely as the party is like heating up, you see people kind of stepping out, heading in that direction. And then so like when the party has heated up and when the party is cooling down, it means probably that it's moved to the red light district.
Okay.
So when it's really popping, it gets, there was a lot of bodies, which is nice though. Some of them were
Yeah.
quite nice to look at.
I was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. It was nice. And they had some really great furniture pieces, um, that really could facilitate, you know, j- just kind of all sorts of positions, right? When there's no furniture, you're kind of stuck with kind of just one or two things you can do, depending
A
upon.
fence if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Depending upon how dedicated you are to this encounter. With the furniture, it kind of opens up a lot of different possibilities, and ways of relating with other people, or maybe you're having a scene with someone else and other people are watching, and you can kind of look around and make eye contact with other people. So the vibe is, it's cute. It's super cute. Um, there was, and then you can kind of see the types, right? The extroverts, the exhibitionists are right in the middle, right? To be
Right.
seen.
That's
And then
me.
you got the folks kind of like the wallflowers that are a little bit in shadow. And I would kind of see people like that shadow is kind of shaped like someone I know, but that's not my business. So let me just keep it moving. And the group that I went with, we would have brunches and kind of and debrief at brunch about who
Love
did
it.
who and what the night before, and um, so that for me was also a big part of the cruise. Because even when I was not personally getting action, somebody was, and I got to hear about it,
Yes.
or see it if I happened to be there. And so the vibe is great. What I fell in love with, um, when I would party with gay men was that sense of sexual freedom, because it's what I wanted for what I wanted for myself, what I told I was not allowed to have as a woman, and then I
Mm.
found this space where like, no, no, this is what we're all doing, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm gonna do it too. Like this is great, this is wonderful. And I've had really great experiences, because there's with more and more people feeling more comfortable talking about being bisexual, being pansexual. Even when I'm in a party with all gay men, I get energy. People are in the crowd like, well, I hadn't mentioned it, but sometimes I like a side of fish with my steak, and I'm like, I'm here for you, boo. I got you.
I love that.
Lovely.
Well, we want to also ask you a little bit because I was on your Insta page and you say you're poly as well. Many of our listeners, some are polyamorous, but also open their relationships up. And there's a difference between an open relationship and a polyamorous relationship, although sometimes they can meet in the middle as well. When did you decide to be polyamorous, and how does that currently look for you?
Um, you know, I moved to DC in 2014, so this was shortly after I had my sex club experience in Germany. And as a part of my entrance into the kink scene, I met a throuple.
Hmm,
There was the very traditional, right, heterosexual couple with a younger woman.
right.
And I was spending time with them, and I was so convinced that if all I got to do is hang out with them enough, and I'm going somebody, there's going to be tears. I'm going to see a fight, like I'm going to see this drama, and it never happened.
Oh,
And I spent
wow.
time with them, and I'm like, no, these people are happy. They're going on vacation together. They're sitting down, hammering out their feelings. And it honestly was the first time I saw a married couple that I was like, oh, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Great
I can sit
example.
down and have these conversations to make sure everybody is okay, but everyone is still treated like an adult and
Mm-hmm.
make adult decisions.
Right.
Instead of having to get signed off and permission, but I want to walk down the street. Can I please, honey? Can I do that? And I can only look in this one direction. So that was my introduction to it. So it was good because it was close up. I got to ask questions, and then I got to really observe and see if people were telling the truth. I ended up living in Germany for a few years. I used to be in the military, and I ran into some poly couples where not everyone is really poly. Some folks are just like, well, this is what he wanted, so I'm doing it.
Mm,
Um, so I was fortunate that that throuple that I met, like, no, all three of us are happy. This is giving consent. No one feels like they have to do this to hold on to someone or any of those sad things that
right.
people get caught up in. So that was my interest. That was my entrance, and then now I have a great poly network.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I have a male nesting partner that I live with, and then I have a few young ladies that I spend time with. In
Hey,
addition,
hey.
um, and yeah, and great parties that I go to. I'm a part of a social club here, DC After Dark, where we are explicitly, a kinky, queer, people of color centered, trans centered, group of folks. So I am so blessed to have a network of people with a lot of, where there's a lot of polycules and a lot of really intentional, you know, bringing your best self to this space and really respecting this space because it's reflective of who I am and who I want to spend my time around.
Love
That's so
it.
beautiful. I definitely love that. That's so I want to kind of talk about your experiences in the kink community because you touched on being a woman and not really having, well, this is what I got from it. You can tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm off base. To the society telling you don't have access to sexual freedom. And I want to ask you about how the kink community has afforded you, or not afforded, but has helped you gain access to sexual freedom in that way. What do you think?
Um, Kink was a good starting place.
Hmm.
There's still right. Even though kink is a subculture, it's a microcosm, right? So my entrance
Hmm.
into kink was still around heterosexual people. So it was cute, but I was like, but not exactly
Okay.
where the bitch is at. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like this is not the kind of like the dick I prefer is queer. Thank you. Um, so my interest in the kink scene was like it was a good start. And then finding queer folks, in that space.
Hmm.
So, so partying with the guys was a big part of that. And I did feel accepted. I didn't. I Now I wouldn't always score, right? To kind of depending upon the night.
Yeah.
And then as I continue traveling in those circles, that's how I found DCAD, which is my current home. And we really do our best to be the most inclusive place possible. Because sometimes we'll get like, um, sometimes we'll get guys that come in that they're bisexual, but they're still feeling a little bit, like not like they go to the gay male spaces, but it's sometimes bi men still really suffer with erasure,
They
still
do.
Yeah.
really suffer with a lot of stigma coming from both directions. So we really host an intentional space where folks, those of us in the LGBTQ community that still feel left out of the big events, we explicitly want a space, for run a space for those people, and we have a happy hour and we do our own kinky events and parties as well. And I'm happy that I'm seeing that more and more. Actually going to a party this weekend. That's a group from Philly, but they're having a pool party in Delaware specifically for BIPOC, queer folks. And we were like, oh yeah, we going to Delaware. Like,
Nice.
Rehoboth? Oh, sorry. I don't want to. My bad. I just want to know. I want to be on the invite list.
I mean, I can send you the link. I'll send you the
Okay.
Eventbrite.
Thank
I
Um,
love
you.
it.
yeah, so that was so I hope that answers your question. So it was a bit of a progression. First I kind of had to get out of, like I was raised fundamentalist Christian. I didn't even
Mhm.
know women could be gay, because when they would talk about all the gays going to hell, it was only about men, because who cares about what women do? What, do they even
Right.
have sex? You know? So I had to so my that first kink was just helping me to kind of let go of some of this
Okay.
traditional BS. And then I got to like gay it up to like make it better.
I love that. I love that so much. You're such a joy and a ray of light.
Nice. We are live, and AG says, "Love hearing about your experience, Marie." Yes, really. Thank you for sharing that. You said you'd stay on for a couple of hot topics about
Oh,
fetishes.
absolutely. It would be my pleasure.
Awesome. Well, we had this story come in that really got my an interesting fetish that we'll just read it. They wrote in this, "Get ready to drool as we explore our next," and they say gay male fetish, but I would argue it could actually be a fetish for any of our community acronyms. Um, Love it or hate it, spit or being spit on, especially during sex, is another popular fetish in our community. And though there are many fancy names for various other predilections involving body fluids such as urine or even, get this, vomit. We had somebody on the show that's a whole thing too. There
Yep.
doesn't seem to be an official name for the sexual gratification associated with being spit on. So the closet relative might be what's known as wet and messy fetishism, wham, also known as splashing, which is a form of gratification whereby a person becomes aroused when copious amounts of a substance are applied to the naked skin, face, or the cloth. Fitting to me, I didn't really realize it was a fetish, Cody, when I first heard this, just because it's always seemed it's this unspoken word that happens, not word, but spit that happens between two people in the bedroom at times, but you don't want to do it to the wrong person because
Mm.
you could really set somebody off. I personally, I'll go first and we'll round robin it, but I personally love it, but not with everybody. It's when I'm talking dirty with somebody and I know they're kinky or either way, it's more of a dominant sub experience that I experience that I like the spit and I can think it can be really hot but this is when I know it's not a wham bam thank you ma'am, it's we are invested in this sexual experience, we're taking our time with it, and this is one of the things that we're going to explore, so that's when it works best for me. Marie, let's jump to you
Yes.
though. What do you think of this fetish? Is it just as the article stated, gay men, or do you actually like this?
You know, when when I think of spit, I think of like suck it, like sloppy dick sucking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that, like
right.
when it gets like really
Foamy,
wet.
yeah.
Right, because it's hitting back there, which is it's one of those things where if I'm like at the supermarket, like if I see it out of context, I'm like, oh my gosh. But but like if I'm on Pornhub or I
Not
am
the
purposely,
supermarket.
looking at something, it's like, oh yeah, girl, spit on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, so in that way, yeah, because someone sent me something on Twitter, and I was like, oh my gosh, that spit came way down from her throat. Um, it's just all over this man's penis. Um, and I have also seen it to your point, Steve, like when I've been watching intense scenes, right, where you can tell this is a long-standing BDSM relationship,
Yeah.
and when they kind of get into the like I've seen people like spit, like someone spit in someone else's mouth.
Right. That's kind of
Um,
what yeah.
yeah, which again, if I'm not thinking about it, I'm like, what? But when you're talking about two people, you're in an intense scene, they're in that moment together, it's like, oh, okay, you know,
Yeah.
I can
Right.
see it.
Kodi, I want to hear from you, but Bryce says, watching us live, the type of spit matters. There's a type. Some contain, oh, okay. Some contain phlegm, which is better for our back door. In missionary, his spit better be minty fresh. Well,
Aha,
that's
there it
true.
is.
Well, okay, to your point, Bryce, that's what I was saying. This doesn't just come out of the blue. I think it's when you kind of know this person from. You keep looking at me this great, Kodi. I feel
I
like you're
know
gonna
because
go. Then go with your.
because for me, like you said in the beginning, I personally think that this is a part of sex. I didn't even really look at this as a fetish because it's something that
It's a Tuesday night.
I know, right? I
You're
feel
like, what? That's old.
Right, yeah.
I feel like it's something that I
Fetish.
just do. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm in my top era. Maybe my blouse era is over and now I'm in my dominant top era. And I'm just spitting on folks all the time. Not the phlegmy type. But honestly, I could spit on somebody in the club, and not as far as me not knowing them, but in a way where we had just met and we're doing whatever, we're having a good time together, we are kissing or we are having some kind of body contact, we're having an intimate moment. That's what I will say. I'll spit on them. I think that it's a it's you
That's
should
giving top
roll your
era big
eyes.
time.
I feel like it's a dominant thing because
Yes.
I really enjoy it. And you know what? There are times I can see where you would say that it is something where you have to have a type of connection because
I'm not saying romantic connection here, but I mean,
for me, I have to know the person in order for them to spit on me. So maybe that is where the romance comes in, basically.
Yeah, that's probably where I kind of got it a little misconstrued because I wouldn't just do it to anybody because I think they might punch me in the face if they weren't ready for that. But listen, when you're heavily involved with somebody, all bets are off and there's a lot of fluids being exchanged and to really get down and dirty. I think. Now, the guy in the store earlier that I referenced, I wasn't ready to spit on him or be
I would have
spit
spit
on.
on
I mean,
him.
I just met him. I just bought a ticket to the tank top. We need to know. Yeah, I need to know a little bit longer than this. I don't want to go back
in his face.
Like
What's that, Marie?
Cody's like, you're gonna take the spit and you're gonna like it, and he's like,
yes, exactly.
It is what it is.
Bryce says, don't spit on me when we are out dancing, Kodi. It could fall into my cocktail. Exactly.
You'll enjoy it, baby. Okay.
Let's keep this fetish conversation going because we recently did a survey and we actually pulled our listeners on this show to say some of their fetishes. And I'll just read some of them and we'll discuss leather, obvious, armpits as delicious, groups, leather again and underwear, glory holes, voyeurism and exhibitionism, hairy men, soccer knee high socks, nipples, again, nipples, male butts, anonymous sex, facials, golden shower and groups, how guys smell after a workout, especially armpits and their ass. Ooh, okay.
All
Um,
right.
public sex, exhibitionism, bondage. Someone wrote nipple pinching. Somebody said, and I love this, still exploring my sexual desires and needs. I love that. Feet and foreskin. I was waiting for feet. That's one of mine. Feet and pits. Bondage and whipping were just a few of some of the fetishes that people wrote in from our listeners. Thank you so much. Does, Marie, does nipples, because that came up a lot. That's a big one. I often get asked, "Are your nipples sensitive?" when a guy's coming towards them, meaning like, will you feel anything, or am I wasting my time? W- Do you like nipple play at all, or the women that you have come in contact? I know you're pansexual, but at least the women. I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like all the nipples and all of their iterations. Um, and I tend to ask the same question with men, like, are your nipples sensitive or not? Because it really, I haven't had a male identified person say, they didn't know. It's either a yes or a no. Like they seem to
Hmm.
be very
Yeah,
clear. With
wired or
women,
not, I think. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And with women, I'm guilty of much more assuming, but I haven't had anyone yet say, "Oh no, I'm not into that." If anything,
No
it's more
complaints.
exactly. It's really more about like pressure. But they're like, "Oh, you can bite
Right.
me, or you can be rougher or go softer, that kind of thing."
Love it. Cody, what did you think of any of the ones that were read that maybe resonated with you?
Oh, definitely the public sex. I am an
Oh,
exhibitionist all day, every day. The nipple play was kind of something that took me by surprise because I guess I'm speaking from my personal experience. I'm a spitter, but my nipples, I don't get down with that. I'm like they're just not something that I feature all of the time. So I don't think they're that sensitive. I did have them pierced, and they got a little bit more sensitive, but it's not something that I'm really into. What about you, Steve?
the feet one was definitely one I was thinking that would come up more often because that's always the OG, seemingly one out of all of it. I've explored it a lot in recent years, happily, and so that one for sure that I enjoy and don't feel shameful of. And that's the whole thing about fetishes is the more we can talk about them, less stigmatize them. I think I love that's why I go back to that one person that wrote in and said, I don't know, I'm just now exploring what my potential fetishes are. And believe it or not, I think a lot of people are often in that boat. So kudos to them for exploring. So yeah.
Wow. Bryce says for him, nipple sucking feels better than a BJ. And I think that is amazing.
Right? Kudos.
Well, we'd love to end with our favorite segment. We should include Marie on this
Marie, do you
one,
want to
right?
play?
Oh,
We
always.
we put the we put the link in the chat, and it's produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, where every week they ask the question, out of these porn stars, this week it was 17, who took the best photo of the week. Brace yourself, Marie, because there's some really juicy ones in there. So
Her eyes are wide open.
we are essentially an audio podcast. So our job when the show gets repackaged is to vividly describe in audio terms why you picked the one you picked. Descriptively describe it and why it got your fancy. Why don't we make Cody go first and move from there?
Her mouth keeps getting open too, and I'm like, she's like, oh, and I am living. Okay, first of all, there's a lot to choose from this week. I
There's a
don't know about you,
lot.
Steve.
A
It's kind
lot.
of like this week is a little insanity.
I was very happy, and I would have gladly taken any of these men. But my pick for the week goes to Brock Banks, mainly because I've had a crush on him for a long time. But also, that bed is beautiful. He's
Oh
laying
my
on a bed.
God. I love it when you talk about the accessories.
The bed is gorgeous. Okay. I feel like I could just lay in that bed for a lifetime. He's laying on this beautiful bed. He's got his legs in the air and he's holding the thickest thighs I've ever seen in my life. He's showing us his beautiful hole, which I just want to put my mouth on, and his beautiful cock. And so, yeah, Brock Banks for me all day, every day. He's the thickest.
I love it. You're right. There were so many to choose from, including the number one on there, Rocco Steele, who
Mhm.
I've met. He was on a Vacaya cruise one year. I think it may have been the one that we were on, Marie, but I'm not sure if that's true. But anyway, I've seen him around town before. He has thick thighs. He looks like he's hiking, kind of nestled in this rock sculpture as if he was just hiking naked, and he's tatted up. He looks mean and rough and ready, and he's got these huge quads and that thick cock, and it's normally hard 10 inches, and he has a brand of underwear called 10 inches, I believe. It's flaccid and it looks delicious, just flaccid, and
It
that's
looks bigger than my dick.
when it's hard. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? No, literally, it's huge. It's so
Yeah.
big.
So he normally gets it. He should probably just be my pick, and we'll just make him my pick. But I'll just do a couple shout outs. King Jax has popped up on this recently, and he's just the way he's sitting in his office chair with his ball sack just down there. And I'll do a shout out too, like you did, Kodi. There's a skull in the background below his knee that's just piercing below that. I don't know if that was strategic or not, but it's cracking me up and I love it. But his dick is beautiful. And of course, Brock Banks, you said, and I love Chris Poppy and Roxham Calum as
Callum,
well.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Marie.
Yes, those are my choice is Chris Poppy and Roxas Calum because they're like we're just bros being handsome, hanging dong, like just breezy. This is just what we do because we are that girl. Like you
Again,
want
it's
to
a
be
Tuesday,
here,
right?
right?
We're hanging
just
naked.
just effortlessly handsome
Effortless.
with these
Yeah.
huge dongs that just are just waving around. Um, hallelujah, yes. But
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
there's a lot of dick, a lot of great. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Michael
right. I
Boston's
love it.
ass, Roxas
Whew.
Callum's dick. And Ty
Ooh.
Santana. Woo, Jesus. Okay, yes. The lot to choose from this week.
What did people say? Bryce, you said Bryce, right? Chris
Doug
Poppy
says
and
Michael Boston. Bryce says Chris Poppy. Oh, yes. Yep, they got him.
we're all
They got
on
all
the
the
same
ones we
page
got.
with this.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
know, right?
Everyone do us a favor and help vote for your favorite. You can do it on Straight Up Gay Porns because they at the end culminate who gets the actual thirst trap of the year, y'all. And so you want
Oh
to play the
wow.
game, and so make your vote. I know you can only post one, but the good news is when you vote, you get to see the stats on who's in first place, second, third, and so on. So it's kind of a fun game to play that we like to play. We want to thank our special guest, Marie, for joining us and talking so openly about your lifestyle, the red light district, Vacaya, and so much more. Marie, I don't know if you want to share any socials or anything for people to follow. You don't have to. We forgot to ask that on earlier, but let us know.
None specific for me, but if anyone in the DC area or even outside of it, check out DC After Dark. We have a website. We're on Twitter. We have a happy hour every week here in DC. And 1 to 2 annual events. We're volunteer run, so sometimes we have to do one, but we throw great parties. And we care a lot about consent, and about the queer community. We're here to support one another. So check us out.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Yes.
Marie. We
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much.
much. I had a
Yeah.
wonderful time,
Thank you,
and
Marie.
y'all are so gorgeous.
Oh
I
my
just
You're
had a
God.
so
great time
gorgeous. We
just
adore
watching
you.
and looking.
Come back anytime. We want to have you
Yes.
come back, please.
Yes, and hopefully I'll see you soon on either the big boat or one of the smaller boats or in Mexico.
Yes. I would love
Cool.
that. Thanks, Marie. We'll talk to you soon. We'll be in touch.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Marie.
All right. My gosh, I love that.
So much fun. She's
Kodi.
amazing. Yes.
Yes, Kodi. You can always follow Kodi. He's a life coach. Follow him at KMD Coaching on Instagram or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on Instagram. I am _ Steve V. And the show, TAGSPodcast.com. Kodi, in the meantime, continue having what? Hot,
At
gay,
gay
sex.
sex.
Yes, people. Love it. Lovely and amazing.